He's back from the dead.
Back for bro, what's
An
up?
expert? We have another.
I mean, hold on.
He's an expert. Hold on, we got an expert.
Is he in the bunker? He in the bunker?
I remember that guy.
I'm in the COVID bunker. That's where I am.
You got a nice setup, man.
man.
I need to come get some pointers from you about your background.
I like how he's got the Emmy right over the right shoulder. Like he clearly positioned himself just so you can see it without completely his head blocking it.
Oh, is that there?
I didn't even know that was there.
It's so weird. Oh, it's a picture of me and Muhammad Ali. I'm embarrassed.
First and foremost, how you doing, man?
Yeah, how you feeling?
We've been missing you out here, man. Hey, I go to the grocery store. They always ask me, where's Jay at? I don't know. I said, man, he's going to be back real soon. You know, I'm like, he's good. He's not going to die. He don't have nothing crazy.
Yeah, I'm going to make it. Some people might be disappointed to hear that. I am going to make it. I've missed you guys. I have. It's funny. I'm just sitting here as a viewer for the first time. And I'm laughing my ass off because you guys are genuinely funny talking about a situation that really there's not much to laugh at. But you've made me laugh, which is probably what I need more than anything. Guys, it struck me listening to Charles, A, how smart he is, and B, how plugged in he is. I think he's probably been the single most dialed-in reporter on this story. And I know Josina's had a lot, Florio's had a lot of opinion, but it seems to be that. It seems to be opinion. I think Robinson is kind of the guy that you really want to listen to because I know he's got great sources at the league. Earlier in the investigative stage, he was getting, it was a league source that told Charles that they would not appeal if it was less than a year. And so I think he's got people that are plugged in high situations. He kept saying one thing. He kept saying that something happened behind the scenes. I don't know what it was. But something happened that sort of. And he said it so often. And as I'm listening to him, I'm trying to figure out, okay, what happened? Where did the good faith break down? And I have a theory on that. It's just a theory, and I'll label it as my opinion. I have absolutely no inside information whatsoever. But let's say Mike and I have a dispute. And in our pact of friendship, we've decided that we'll try to work it out between the two of us. But Mike, if I don't, I'm going to settle it by going to someone that I choose. Or maybe I'll just trump both of us and I'll settle it. Is that treating you as an equal if I do that? Of course not.
Before I answer that, is this a metaphor for anything? Like, we're cool, right? We're cool.
Hey, you said,
are we working through something on air?
Right. Hey, this is, see, white people good at that.
I understand.
What's underneath this, bro?
You can't say he wasn't war.
I understand what you're saying, and of course that would not put us on equal ground in that case.
So I think what happened is, and I don't know. First of all, the fact that I think the NFLPA got duped. I really do. I think they got duped. Because, Mike, you're too smart to ever agree to that. You would say, no, wait a minute. If you and I have an agreement and you get to settle it, or a disagreement and you get to settle it, that's just not fair. You're not treating me as an equal in the friendship.
Well, Jay,
Jay,
it was a smoke screen. Like it was. See, you ain't been here. Everybody was worried about the money in the 17 games. That they was like, you know what? Slip this in. They ain't even paying attention to that. Slip this in.
Yeah, but listen, when you're negotiating a player's, this is a collectively bargained agreement. All of their players, you know how much they pay in union dues to be supported by the union.
Oh, you see it?
There are a lot of players.
I sent it to you. Didn't you see it?
I saw it. And that's one player, one paycheck. So here's my point. It's an odd hill to die on if you're the players. But at the same time, what they have to be saying collectively behind closed doors is, hold up. Our management, our leaders agreed to a collectively bargained agreement that in issues of dispute as it comes to player misconduct, and that's been one of the hot button issues for almost a decade now, that our union boss, and we voted on this, but somehow it was put in there that, well, when there's a disagreement, I get to settle it. That's not fair and equitable. And I think what's happened here is perhaps the union decided, put it in there. They're never going to be so stupid as to actually do that because the optics of that are garbage. But here we are, and they have appealed it. And Roger basically has handed it off to his friend, who I think looks like a French artist. Are we sure that this guy doesn't do some sort of French painting somewhere in a chateau?
Goodness.
And I don't mean to disparage him at all. I'm disparaging
That's
the
my
process.
job, is to
Guys,
disparage him.
I know. Guys, this is laughable to me that in any relationship that is, and it has to be built on trust, right? The most important thing in any relationship is trust. And let's be clear, it is a relationship between the league and its players. And it may be the most important relationship that the NFL is in. And they have gone behind, they've circled the wagons in a way where the union leadership has to be embarrassed that they ever agreed to this. And it almost makes me think that during the discussion stages, was there kind of a gentleman's wink and a nod? Look, we're going to put that in there to make it look as if we are still in control of this vehicle. But we're never going to actually go through with appealing something that is already been decided by the only mutually agreed upon party in the entire system.
And Jay,
so
Jay
I
this
think,
is crazy.
Go ahead.
Jay, I talked to Brad the other day, and I think we both came in and said it. It's not to us. It's not even about Deshaun Watson anymore.
Not at all.
I think the Players Association is to a point where they're saying, look, yeah, he did what he did. Yeah, okay. But we're talking about the process. Like, we're talking about the fact that if you're gonna have it be Sue Robinson, but if you don't like it, you go and bring your boy in, you bring your guy in, your best friend, and then he's sifting through documents. Me and Mike was laughing. He's sifting through documents like he's actually reading this stuff. You can't give any more information. It ain't like he's just looking, and they're going to give an oral report to this guy? It's crazy.
I know.
It just looks, DeMaurice Smith looks crazy for even having his clients be here.
And here's the interesting thing, and this is why I say it's not about, you're absolutely right, it's not about Deshaun Watson, because this would be an odd hill for them to die on. Let's face it, the other 31 teams are livid over the way the Browns structured this contract. Mm-hmm. And if you think for one moment that doesn't weigh into the league's decision to appeal this, you're missing the point. The fact of the matter is, the Browns thought they had pulled a swervy derv. They thought, wow, we figured this out. He's not going to get more than a year. I think it was probably Deshaun's agent that decided, let's build year one of the salary so small monetarily that if he loses the whole year, he loses nothing. So, guys, the fact that he's being fined 0.14% of the overall value of the contract, that is laughable. And the rest of the teams are upset about this. So I think, and no, they are not negotiating behind the scenes. Tyvis, you made the point. Why would the league negotiate? They hold the hammer. They ultimately get to decide what happens here. That's because the game is rigged. The game is rigged between the NFLPA and the NFL. And now the NFLPA realizes the mess it's made, and DeMaurice Smith has to be humiliated because who would agree to do this? Who would agree to do this? And so now I think they're not negotiating because they don't need to. Now there might come a point in time when they do need to negotiate, but that time isn't right now because they still have a hammer. So I think ultimately what we're looking at here is everybody is furious that he's being penalized so small amount financially. He's losing $250,000, and he's going to make $240 million. They want their pound of flesh, so the league can say to the general public, look, we didn't just slap this guy 0.14% of his salary and tell him to sit on the sidelines for 6 games. Somebody brought up the dollar amount of $10 million to $20 million. I think that's ultimately going to be where we land. I think that there's going to be a severe financial piece to this that so far is missing. So I would look for the penalty to be somewhere in the $10 to $20 million range and maybe 2 more games. And I think that everybody walks away with that. Go ahead, Ty.
Jay,
Let me ask a really ignorant question
So
real
he
quick
took that.
first.
So he took my deal. That's what he did.
What
He
I
took
was
the
gonna
deal.
say, what is it possible? Say the league came out and said, you know what, Deshaun, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna give you the 6 games this year, and then next year we'll give you 4 games. Would that make it? Because he's gonna lose money next year for sure.
No,
You think you can't do that?
You're not going to split the suspension. They believe it or
That
not.
would be terrible.
Yeah, they're not going to do that.
It would hurt.
No,
That's cruel and unusual
but-
punishment.
On us.
They're like, dude.
Yeah,
it hurt.
they're not going to do that.
Yeah.
Here's what I would do. I would, and I haven't done the math on this, so I'm not sure exactly where it would fall, but I'll try to do a little bit of quick mental math. I would want the financial piece to be not 6 games off his salary this year. What I would do is take the total sum of money that he is to be paid, which is $240 million, and I would prorate that per game, and then I would punish him financially so he misses 6 game checks over the entire amortized contract. And I can assure you that would be a much bigger number than $333,000 because 6 games from 1 year or from what he's making this year, that's laughable. So at least this way, there's a more punitive piece to this decision. Because right now, I can understand why the public would be looking at this saying, wait a minute, it's going to cost him $333,000 over all of this, and he's going to miss 6 games. I can understand why, and I don't know why Sue L. Robinson didn't put a bigger financial piece in. I don't know why she didn't fine him. I think if she had fined him a fair amount,
do you think
it would have been a done deal.
Do you think, first of all, here's my ignorant question. Where does the money go when somebody gets fined $10 million?
Charity.
I'm glad you brought that up.
That's my question.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you brought that up because in this particular instance, I think it's very important that whatever the number is, let's just say it's $10 million. I think it's very important that $10 million, we know exactly where it goes. So I don't know what the cause is. It obviously has to do, maybe it's sex trade workers. I don't know. It has somehow, this can't just be $10 million that disappears and nobody knows, what became of it. Where did it go? Mm-hmm. In this particular instance, it has to be earmarked and the public has to know that this is going to help women's causes in some way, shape, or form. And I think that would be the other part of this.
It would be interesting to see if there's a history of that. Like, is that normally how they do it? I didn't know it all went to charity. And then,
I don't know.
If they find Michael Vick, did it go to, like, dog kennels or something like that? Because that would make sense. I just don't know if that's how it works historically.
I don't know. It should, Mike. It should, to be perfectly honest. I know that the league has a host of charities that they work with, and I don't know if they divvy it up evenly between them, but I do think in this particular case, because the alleged victims were all women, and I don't know how you figure out exactly which charity is going to win out here. That's for the Park Avenue guys to figure that out. But it can't just be $10 million that disappears into league coffers.
Right.
And we never know what happened to it.
You bring up an interesting conspiracy theory that it might be worth exploring, and that is, why did she not fine him financially very much? And could it possibly be because they had some sort of deal with the NFL in advance where she gave him this because they knew that the public would never be happy with the first thing? So this way it gives the NFL wiggle room so that they can at least do this, do something financial to him in hopes that will appease the public. Possibly.
It's a very smart point. I don't know if you guys remember about a month ago, I had said that it seems like all of these people, Sue L. Robinson, Roger Goodell, all of the lawyers, it almost to me felt like they were actors that were carrying out a pre-written play. And this makes perfect sense because now the league can come in and say, hey, we weren't happy with the initial decision. We wanted there to be a more punitive stage. Now they can look like the knight in shining armor that came in and dropped the financial hammer. They can keep the 6 games part of it so Sue L. Robinson doesn't look like she's completely dismissed. By the way, if I'm Sue L. Robinson, I resign my position. I don't know why.
She got used.
Why would you want to be in that? She was
got
their
used.
useful idiot.
She got
And I
used.
hate to use that phrase, but you're exactly right. If you're gonna go through this dog and pony charade and then dismiss what she recommends as the punishment anyhow, I can't
she
believe
knew that was a
they did that to
possibility,
her.
though. She did know it was a possibility when she signed on. I'm sure she's
did.
a very smart woman. She read the bylaws. I'm sure she knew exactly what she was walking into, and she knew that the
You're right.
NFL has a history. Also, she knew. I'm sure she was familiar with the NFL's history of getting what they want and doing what they want when they want it. So I think she's a big girl, and I think she knew what she was getting into.
Now, Jay, before you use all of your minutes up, I know you using your dial-up minutes. The AOL floppy disk, you put
Wait,
that
dial
in. You
up.
have
I got a rotary phone over here I connected to you guys with. I don't know what you're talking about, dial up minutes.
We got to get. I was at camp, and I'm gonna tell you the hot topic around town is this. Hot topic is Jimmy G or no Jimmy G. I went to camp. Jacoby Brissett looked okay. He did what he can do. You know,
These are great, Jacoby. Those raves.
did
Way to
what
be
his-
in this corner,
He,
Jay.
did
He
his
looked
thing.
okay. He did
With
what
the
he could
Randy
do.
Jackson voice, hey man, you did your thing. Big dog, you was started off a little slow, but you brought it home at the end. Now, there's a couple of people that's moving around. Don't be coughing out there. Listen, there's a couple people around town on the radio is hot and ready to go. People are saying, look, if it looks like you're gonna miss Deshaun Watson, Jimmy G is ready to go. He's almost in the same situation Baker was kind of in San Francisco. Would you make the deal because it's looking like more than 6? If it's anything over 10 or 12, would you say this guy gives us the best chance to make the playoffs and continue with the Browns roster? Because they had a great roster.
He gives us a better chance, but I'm not making that trade, and I don't think the Browns are making that trade either. For starters, what they're going to have to give up and the additional salary that they're going to take on to do that. Honestly, guys, when you look at these numbers side by side, they're almost identical. If you double the touchdowns for Brissett, he's at 72. If you double the interceptions, he's at 34. Now, the reason I say double is because Garoppolo has played many more games. I honestly don't think there's a big difference between Brissett and Garoppolo. Now, if you were telling me that maybe you could go out and get, and I don't even know, I would throw a name out there, maybe Matt Ryan.
Okay.
I would probably be more interested in that, but I just think Jimmy G might be worth an extra win or two over Jacoby Brissett. But here's the thing, guys, and this is the sad part of it. If he's out for the year, in my view, they're not going to the playoffs, not in this division. Now, strange things have happened. Maybe Jacoby Brissett can really take to this offense. They can get on a roll. You know how funny things can happen when you start hot. But I just don't believe that if they're without Deshaun Watson for the entire year, that they're a Super Bowl contender. So I would hate to see them mortgage more money and more assets to upgrade from Brissett to Garoppolo. I just don't think that that's a big enough leap that you would want to lose those resources.
If they can do that, though, Jay, here's the thing. If you didn't have to lose many resources, the reason that I would be in defense of Jimmy G for this is if you didn't have to lose many resources, you talked about maybe get some 1 or 2 extra wins. I want those 1 or 2 extra wins this year if it's not going to cost me anything. And you say we might not be a playoff team. Well, we might not, but those 1 or 2 extra wins gives us a little bit of a better chance. I don't have that much faith in Pittsburgh. I don't know what who's going to get hurt, what's going to happen, and I want those 1 or 2 extra wins. Here's the other thing. I've never heard anybody in all of my years get excited when mentioning Jacoby Brissett. Probably including anybody in his immediate family, if I had to guess, and that's no offense to him. But what I'm saying is, you just heard G's analysis of Jacoby Brissett. He's like, he looked okay. He did what he had to do. That's the best you'll ever hear about him. I see people get excited about Jimmy Garoppolo. I see Jimmy Garoppolo excite teammates. No, as much as people are talking about what a pro Jacoby is and stuff, and I'm sure he is. I've heard nothing but good stuff about him, but just good stuff about him. I've never heard a teammate be like, I would go to the mat for that guy. That's my boy right there. He's my hero, my best bro. Nobody's like that. They're just like, he's a professional and I like him as a person and he's okay. So I want that excitement and at least bring me that, if nothing else, the guy's a proven winner. So bring me a proven winner.
To that, I would say, why then are the 49ers so anxious to move on from him?
That's true, but because they've got a better option probably behind him.
3 first-round draft picks is what it's called. The 3 hurt you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when I look at their better option, I know that this guy's taken the team to the Super Bowl. I know that.
True.
I watched it. I don't know what Trey Lance is going to be. I have no idea. Now, granted, they're high on him, but I think the Jets were high on their quarterback when they just drafted him. I think they were high on their last quarterback when they drafted him in the first round. So guys miss, and I don't know. I mean, I know Kansas City was awfully excited about Mahomes, and it panned out. But how many times have teams been very excited about the young quarterback in the wings, and that young quarterback in the wings got his chance, and they were like, wait a minute, he doesn't quite look like we thought he would look. So I'm just saying that.
Really quick, you got a stat for us? You got us?
Yeah, no, we talk about doubling numbers and touchdowns, and Jimmy G's a proven winner. It's just worth mentioning. We mentioned it yesterday. I'll mention it again. As a starter in his career, Jacoby Brissett's 14-23. Jimmy G's 33-14 in the playoffs. 33-14 in his career, 5-2 in the playoffs.
You're absolutely right. I think he's had much better talent around him, and I think that's probably led to some of that. Look, is anybody on a show of hands? Let's take the wide shot of the panel. A show of hands. Are the Browns a Super Bowl team for the season with Jimmy Garoppolo at quarterback?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Hold on, wait a minute. Let me
explain yourself.
Let me break this down, because I got in this business right now. I got first-class personal experience with this situation.
We know
and
you
I
have
broke
cool
it down
friends.
yesterday.
You have cool friends.
Jay, listen.
He's eating barbecue over there.
Listen, Jay. Would you, true or false, with Jacoby Brissett at quarterback, you'd say the Browns at best 9-win team?
I think that's a stretch.
So that's a stretch, okay?
For me, it is.
I'm glad you said that. I was talking to McNuggets about this. Now, you say, why is it that the 49ers want to move off of Jimmy Garoppolo? Well, yeah, they made this big trade for Trey Lance and all that. I do believe that Jimmy Garoppolo has limitations. I do believe that. His deep ball sometimes is not where it needs to be. But outside of that, he is capable of making every pass. I think Kyle Shanahan has done a fantastic job of not putting him in situations and utilizing him to his strength. Now, would you say, looking at San Francisco's defense and their team that they had, when they went to the Super Bowl, true or false, if Emmanuel Mosley did not give up that deep 7 cut and Richard Sherman didn't get beat on that inside 9, the 49ers winning that Super Bowl, would you true or false?
Well, I will tell you that in all likelihood, yes, they do. But I would also tell you that we don't play the if game on this show.
I understand
that. And the reason we don't is because I tried to with Baker Mayfield in Kansas City. And I said,
like,
so guys, and you were like, oh, no, you're not bringing that up in here. You're right. So, if the Browns stop Kansas City on 4th and a mile, they go to Buffalo the next week to play in the AFC Championship game.
What I'm saying, I'm not going to use the if then. Let's put it to you this way right now. Jimmy Garoppolo, if you look at the Browns team and you look at San Francisco's team, the Browns team is pretty much structured the same way. Great run game.
It's a very similar situation.
Great defense. If a quarterback could come in and get us to the AFC Championship game, at least we have a shot to be there. With Jacoby Brissett, we will not be sniffing no AFC Championship game. Therefore, it's justified making the trade.
Here's the problem. Look, it's an opinion. I don't think it's a fact, so I can't say true or false. I would say, in my view, if I'm running the organization, The only way I'm making this trade is if I can say he's the missing piece. We get Jimmy Garoppolo, we go to the Super Bowl. But guys, and I talk about this all the time when we're talking about baseball and the trade deadline, why the Guardians didn't make any moves. In my view, they looked around at the landscape and they said, does this make us better than the Yankees? Does this make us better than any other team? It's definitively better than any other team in the American League that's suited to win right now. Can we beat the Astros? Can we beat the Yankees? And I think the answer to that was no. There were more than one or two missing parts. So I think for the Browns to pull this trigger, they have to be able to say that this is going to be the move that, regardless of what happens to Deshaun Watson, if we have Jimmy G for the year, we're going to the Super Bowl. And when you look around the landscape, Kansas City, Buffalo, Cincinnati.
What's wrong with the
We don't know
playoffs?
about Baltimore.
What's wrong with the playoffs?
Nothing's wrong with the playoffs,
If my option
Mike.
is not going to the playoffs, or I would enjoy looking at the playoffs personally, and
Mike,
even if we come up short, I'd still like that ride.
I don't know.
I would normally agree. I would normally agree with that, Mike. Tyvis, maybe this is where you want to go to with that. I think for the Browns, so 5 years ago, yeah, because we hadn't had a playoff experience in forever. So, God, just let us get to the party. Let us step on the dance floor and see what that feels like again. But now where this team is, with their talent and where they are in terms of positioning, their roster is a Super Bowl caliber roster if Deshaun Watson is the quarterback. But that's like saying the Buccaneers are a Super Bowl caliber roster with Tom Brady
I understand
at quarterback.
that, but what you're saying is you'd rather just pout and watch them not make the playoffs this year if you can't watch Deshaun Watson than make this. If you didn't have to give anything up, then make this trade and make the playoffs and have the fans enjoy that. Just be like, well, we're not gonna win then.
No, I don't think you're saying we're not going to win then. I think what you're saying is, do you really, Mike, if you were to put a percentage chance on the Browns going to the Super Bowl, I'll ask 3 questions. Deshaun Watson's the quarterback. What are the chances that the Browns go to the Super Bowl this year, in your mind?
90%.
Wow. Wow, man.
No,
I love your optimism, Ty.
I don't know. Let's say 20%.
25%.
Let's say 20%. Go ahead.
Okay. What if Jimmy Garoppolo's the quarterback?
Here's my only question to that. Is the percentage higher with him being the quarterback or with Jacoby Brissett being the quarterback? That's the only
that
thing
was my third
matters.
question.
Okay, great.
So that's my third question.
Okay, yes, great.
So,
Then we'll say if it's Jimmy Garoppolo, we'll say 5%.
okay, and with Jacoby Brissett?
4%. I'll take Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah, so what you're ultimately going to do is
I like the logic.
you're going to give up assets that will help you next year when you actually have Deshaun Watson.
Only if the assets, you're right, and that's the key. I have to put that. I have to take that into consideration too. If I'm giving up something, I'm not going to give up something that will mortgage my future for this chance. But if it's not,
that's a great segue. Mortgaging future.
Go right ahead. Yes.
Mortgaging future. Jay, we got to at least get to this trade.
No, Jay's not leaving yet.
He's doing a nice job in this chair, everybody. He's doing a nice job in this chair.
Before
Killing
Jay
it.
leaves, though, we got to tell you where this next is coming from. And it's coming from the internet, which means PCC Airfoils is our sponsor. For a job with career advancement and great benefits, PCC Airfoils is a leading manufacturer in Northeast Ohio. All locations of PCC Airfoils in Eastlake, Mentor, Wickliffe, and Minerva are hiring for all positions starting at $18 and up, plus full benefit packages, paid time off, and a signing bonus. Apply online at precast.com/careers to learn more.
I'll tell you what. I will give you this. Mike Polk Jr. has some strong takes. I didn't think he had that in that middle chair game right now. He's like, yo, I like this Jimmy G stuff.
I had like a
that.
pot of coffee.
Well, here's where we see Polk and his true sports acumen right here.
Here we
Polk,
go.
We're going to set you up on a tee. This came out this morning. Let's take the tag board, Steve. Bears star linebacker Roquan Smith has asked the team to trade him. He wants to go to a contender. So that made us think in the pre-show meeting. What about a little, I'm going to present a trade to you guys.
Yeah.
Let's see what you guys think. Maybe Kareem Hunt and Anthony Walker for Roquan Smith?
I'm gonna tell you. I'll tell you this right now. At first, I thought about it and was like, you know what? I'm not doing that trade.
I am.
And then I thought about it and was like,
I am.
well, Kareem Hunt is a rental, right? He's not coming back next year. We all
Right.
pretty much agree with that.
Right.
You got 3 other running backs. Kareem Hunt would actually go there, and they might actually give him a new contract in Chicago, right? He might be the bell cow there. If you look at it, Roquan Smith wants a new deal. I think he's on his rookie deal. Tyvus, you said I think it's a 5th-year deal. He's looking for a long-term contract. Bears did give it to him. Now, here's the problem. The Browns, I don't think would earmark that amount of money for a linebacker. I just don't think they think that position deserves that amount of money. However, I will say this. If he's going to be a rental, he can help me get to where I want to go. Now, if I get Roquan Smith and I put him with that defense, now I feel like I could do some Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Baltimore Ravens type stuff. Now, what I'm looking at, and even if it's only a rental, I'm cool with that because guess what? That still gives me an opportunity to compete. And you look at the roster. If it's Jacoby Brissett, that makes my team better. I think you can lean on the defense and run the football, and you still got 3 other running backs. I mean, am I crazy for saying that I would do this deal?
I'm with you. I'd take the deal. I would definitely.
What's his contract for? He only has one more year?
He's on the last
on the
year
last
of
year.
his rookie deal. He's an unrestricted free agent last year, just like Kareem Hunt would be. But if you add
So it's
Hunt
like a
and
swap,
Walker's
yeah.
salaries together, it's about the same as Smith.
I'm taking the deal. I'm definitely the plan to win. Number one is play great defense. You got a middle line. Him and JOK.
They'd be crazy.
Man, listen.
They'd be crazy.
Listen.
That'd be fun to watch.
Yes.
That'd be nice. with that defense, the way it's set up, you got them 2 dudes on the edge. Your secondary is coming together. Man, that's LOB vibes right there. That's Seattle.
Jay, are you taking this totally mythical
Here
deal
you
that we
go,
just
Jay.
made up completely?
Trade machine.
Yeah, I'll do it. I'm taking it.
Yeah,
But
Jay.
It's a done deal.
But I'll tell you guys this though. I think I don't know who said it. Someone said I'm not sure the Browns value that position that way. I can tell you they don't.
Right.
If you take a look at what they've done at that position, particularly in the last 5 years, and you guys can figure out who's been there for the last 5 years, and the way their Moneyball crunching of numbers and value of player and position, I don't think they value that position. I don't think they look at that as the key position on the defense. Clearly, the way they drafted,
do
the way
not.
Yeah,
That was a Sendejo gag, everybody.
I think,
It was a throwback.
I can only call him. I don't even mention this name.
I tell you what, though,
mention his name.
even though they might not value the position,
He seemed like a nice guy.
even if they don't value the position per se, if he came here and had like an all-pro season, I think they would. If this defense went from 5 to 1, they would reconsider that thought, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you
I'm
never
not-
really had that guy there to know if you need it or not. Technically,
No, you haven't. But I just watched when they let Schobert walk. For me, I just was a little dumbfounded. And I know I talked to folks that from around the league that said the same thing. They were like, he was a good fit with what they were doing. They clearly value up front and the back end of the defense. And I don't even know if they value the safeties, but they value the corners.
Where is Joe Sherbert now?
I don't know.
Out of the league?
Schobert he went to Pittsburgh. No, I don't know. I
Is
think
he
he went
with
to Pittsburgh.
Jacksonville?
He was with
Jacksonville and Pittsburgh is the teams that he's played with.
Alexa,
I
where's
think,
Joe
since-
Schobert at? We need to get one of those right
But see,
here.
if that's the case, then the Browns was right.
Hey, let me ask you something.
No, you still had productive years left.
Guy that likes. Remember, you said he actually believes that you can win the Super Bowl different ways. A lot of people, I would say
I do.
75 to 80% believe that you can only win the Super Bowl by having a dynamic quarterback that's a franchise quarterback and putting it on his shoulders and throwing the football. But you saw Tampa Bay. You saw them in their heyday, right? And I think you believe that you can win it a couple different ways, right?
I do. I firmly believe that. And anybody who thinks that it's just the quarterback is kidding themselves. Even when Tampa won a couple of years ago, guys, look at their defense when they won the Super Bowl. And Tom Brady wasn't exactly blowing teams off the field. Yeah, he had big throws in big spots, which all teams need. But they had a defense that flat got after it. And it wasn't as good as the Buccaneers defense when they won Super Bowl 38 or whatever that was. But I do think, and I know Bull firmly disagrees with me on this, Bull believes that the league has changed now and you cannot win without an elite quarterback. And, I mean, Garoppolo almost won it. And nobody's going to call him an elite quarterback, and that was that is very recent history. It's not like the league has changed that much since Garoppolo lost the Super Bowl. So I think that the easiest path to a Super Bowl is to have an elite quarterback. But I will die saying this. If you have an elite and maybe even like an all-time great defense, you can win with a mediocre quarterback. The Buccaneers did it in Super Bowl 38. I know the Ravens did it.
We know you miss Baker,
a couple of times.
We know you miss Baker.
I don't.
Just say it.
I'm not.
No,
listen,
I know.
What I'm saying is the Browns defense isn't that defense. Okay?
Right.
The Browns defense is, I would say, top 10 in the league. To do it that way with the Baker Mayfield type,
Right.
your defense has to be top ranked in the league, and it has to be in the conversation as one of the great defenses of all time.
Yeah, they got to be scary.
When we saw Chicago, and now I know this is ancient history, but when Chicago won in '85, and they averaged, I think the defense allowed 9 points a game for the entire season.
That's
okay, Jim McMahon was horrible. Jim McMahon was horrible.
He really was.
But they handed it off to Walter Payton. When they got close, they handed it off to the fridge, and the defense put the clamps down on everybody. Super Bowl path.
Yep.
So I know that the league is different now. I will give you that. But Super Bowl, try to forget all about that. So I do think that, they could win with Garoppolo. But to do it, I think they'd have to have a top 1 or 2 ranked defense in the NFL. And I don't think they're there yet.
Before we let you go, I need to get you on record on this. We got to start this. We got to start this watch immediately.
Okay.
What you got going into this Panthers game? You got the Panthers and Browns week 1. Is you gonna wait till you see Jacoby Brissett a couple preseason games before you put what you think on that game?
I'll tell you this much. You can't. If that'd be like if I asked you who you taking, the Guardians or the Red Sox, but I'm not going to tell you who the starting pitchers are.
I give you that.
I give you that too.
But
I mean, I don't know who's starting for the Browns, and I don't know who's starting for the Panthers.
Word on the street is Baker's looking good down there.
Word on the street, Baker that deal.
Word on the street, he's somehow outplaying Darnold somehow. It's amazing that it can happen.
Assuming it's Baker Mayfield and Jacoby Brissett, I feel like there's a lot of people are going to edge Baker in that matchup, right? And he's going to be magical.
I do.
He's going to be magical.
Vegas is favoring, I think. I thought I saw that they were a 1-point favorite. Now, granted, you get a couple of points when you're the home team. But if it ends up being Baker and Jacoby, I wouldn't touch that with Mike's money, number one, just because you never bet on quarterback. You never bet on an NFL game where the quarterback of that team is playing his first game in that system. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what this would be on both sides.
That game's horrifying.
So please don't throw your money out the window of that moving vehicle. Don't bet on it. Now, for entertainment purposes only, if it was Jacoby and Baker, and I had to make a gentleman's bet, and I'm not going to lose hard-earned money on it, I'm still going to take the Browns. Because, yes, Baker's going to be amped and ready to go, but he's one guy. There's going to be 11 guys on the defense that he's going to be on the field with that are going to be amped as well. Mm-hmm. And they're going to want to prove that they're the team. It's not the Panthers. And by the way, I just think, too, the Browns have such a big roster advantage that if they do lose this game, I'm going to feel the exact same way I did when they lost to the Titans at home a couple of years ago. I'm going to want to climb into a cave. I'll probably feel worse, too, because this team is better. I know that Jarvis and Odell and all of that nonsense, but if they lose this game, it's going to be a really, really rough start to the season.
I just had a great idea, you guys. Okay. So, does anybody have a friend down who actually is around the Carolina area?
I got a cousin.
Okay,
Yes.
great. So that way we can get a postmark something. We start sending the Browns defense hate mail from Baker Mayfield right now, saying, you guys stink, good luck. I always hated all
I
of
don't
you.
think they need that.
I'm better than all of you. I'm glad I'm away from Cleveland. Like, how can we amp up this defense
I don't think they
through
need
our
that.
chicanery?
I think they are. I think the defense is already going to be amped up.
Well, and a little hate mail can't hurt, though. We can all agree on that,
I
right?
always
If
like to
anything,
say somebody
it's
Mention
gonna
his
be
specific
trying to
family members.
It's going to be the offense trying to get it going.
Like, really
with
get
with
down and
Jacoby.
dirty, though.
The,
I
de-
feel like.
the defense coming to play for
Set
sure.
up, yeah.
All right, I'm just going to go ahead and move ahead with this plan and pretend like we all agreed to do it.
We all signed it.
Sounds good.
We all complicit.
I need that cousin's address.
Jay,
I
I
co-sign it.
appreciate you. It was good seeing your face, man. We miss you. Get back soon, bro. We'll be in the studio before you know it.
Keep
And,
hydrating.
I hope so.
and we rock and
Keep
roll.
eating celery.
And peanut butter.
You probably driving your
doing
wife
both.
up a wall.
That poor woman, honestly.
He down there talking about you want to hang out? You want to hang out? You want to watch a movie?
Oh, thoughts and prayers. Thoughts and prayers. Keep hydrating, brother. Love you. See you soon.
Take care, guys.
I'll be glad when he go home.